What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shuggie from Shook Earth Media, and today I wanted to discuss just a brief concept and a theory I have about filmmaking. I wanted to share with you guys and let you know my thoughts. So the idea is that a film is written 3 times. Now, I'm not talking about writing a draft of the film 3 times, because I've written way more than 3 drafts of films that I've made before, but what I mean is that step 1, you write the script. Step 2, you direct it. Now, step 3, you edit it. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is each step in the process, you have so many different options of how to proceed. And the vision that each of those people have is so significant, it is as if the film is being written 3 times. Now, I have had to, a lot of the films, we did some reactions to previous films that I've made on the channel. So if you want to look back at some of those videos, you can see that I was intent on writing, directing, and editing, and shooting it. I wanted to do everything. I now see the value of collaboration, and while I still am going to write and direct and stuff like that, you know, I'm not as keen on doing everything as I used to be, but I had to learn that my mindset when I was writing the script had to be very different than my mindset when I was directing. I had to take off the screenwriter cap and put on the director cap. What do I mean by that? So when you're writing a script, in film school they tell you, do not direct while you're writing. You don't say where the camera is unless it's essential to the script. You don't necessarily talk about all the decor. You don't necessarily talk about the costumes. You don't necessarily talk about the sound design. You only list the details that are essential to proceeding. And why is that? That is so you give the director maximum latitude to show the audience their own vision. You give them the ability to make the decisions. And the reason why you do that is because words on a page are very different than actually getting all of the pieces together. There are so many moving parts in a film, so many different aspects to it, and it's a collaborative process. So a lot of the director's job is working with the lead performers. And we discussed how I necessarily didn't really do the best job at the beginning in some of my films. Really, you're working with the actors and crafting this narrative. Now, there has to be a lot more work done on the performances than what is on the page. There's a lot more to the acting than the lines they're reading and the stage directions, right? So every decision in a film, like where the actors are standing, whether they're standing or sitting, whether they're walking or where they walk in from, or what time of day it is, so many of these decisions are up to the director, and it is important to have that vision going forward. And if you're a writer-director like I was, you have to learn not to be so rigid about your original inception. When you're writing the script, you're not necessarily thinking logistically. You're not thinking about all the moving parts that I mentioned. You're not thinking about what the costume designer might say. You're not thinking about the set designs. You're thinking about the story. And of course, that is what you're thinking about as a director as well, but you have to keep more in your head than the words on the page. There's so much more to it. Now, step 3, editing. Usually the director is involved in this process. Sometimes the director is involved in writing the script as well, not even if they're working personally. Sometimes they just give feedback and then the screenwriter makes changes. But the editor has the ultimate power to decide the performances. They are the ones deciding what reaction shots go in. If you're an actor, be nice to your editor, because they determine how well it turns out, right? So there's a thing, I believe it's called the Khrushchev effect. There's some famous editor, and the idea is you put the same reaction shot, but you just have different things surrounding it, and it completely changes the meaning of that reaction. So much of the film grammar is determined by the editor. The pacing, the shot choices, the placement of the reaction shots. I've, as an editor, used stuff before we called action. I've used shots from before the cameras were supposed to be rolling. You know, it's really all about capturing that natural reaction sometimes. So if you're really rigid, like I directed the scene to be this way, I storyboarded it to be this way. If you cut it really rigidly with that in mind, you might miss out on some of the best stuff you left on the editing floor. So really, you have to take off the director hat and put the editor hat on. That's why I say a film is written 3 times. You write the script, you direct the scene, and then you edit it. And even in the editing process, you can cut whole scenes from the script. You can add scenes, you can manufacture scenes that weren't even intended to be that way. You can cut certain scenes together in such a way that they, like, you guys have seen YouTube poops, you know how ridiculous you can make things with editing. Now you can concoct scenes that weren't even supposed to be there. An example would be in Breaking Bad, there was a scene that they filmed that was Walter White having a little wank in the stall of the doctor's office, and that scene ended up getting cut, but they did use those shots for when he was throwing up in a toilet. So those scenes were shot to be one thing, ended up being something completely different. That's just the first example I thought of, but yeah, no, it's a funny example. So yeah, that's why I say a film is written 3 times. Now, of course, a director often has hands in all 3 of those, and the producer has some role as well. So that's why I say there isn't really one author of a film, and being too rigid about what you had in mind to begin with might limit the potential of your artistic expression. So really, you have to take each of these roles as their own thing. You shouldn't get too stuck on your original idea, because you always have to be open to better ideas. Let me know what you guys think about this idea. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you think. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.